Hi guys, I am making a quick video to show you guys how to apply your colored pencil to your finished Gyotaku print. First of all, just to review, once you have your two prints done, you're going to need to figure out which one you would like to practice on and which one's going to be your final. If I was going to show these two prints, I would probably practice on the one that's too light and keep the one that's a little bit darker. On some of yours, you're going to have one that's extremely dark, too dark, and then you have one that's medium dark. I would pick the one that's more the medium. So whichever one you think gives you the most details, but still doesn't give huge big splotches of ink and isn't missing so much that you're actually missing part of your fish. So on these two, I would practice on this one and have this one be your final, okay? So once you've picked that out and you figure out what size approximately the eye is on the fish that you are going to be drawing, you're going to need to do some practices, which is what I did here. What I'm going to do in just a moment is I'm going to zoom in a little bit closer so you can see what I'm going to do as far as drawing. If you want some visual references in your classroom, you'll also have this book. You'll need to make sure your hands are clean when you touch it. It's called A Life Among Fishes, The Art of Gyotaku. And this entire book is filled with artwork from a man who's made his living doing prints such as these. So that it's filled with Gyotaku prints. If you look real closely, you even find squid prints, octopus prints, crab prints. And yes, on these, he has embellished them and added details like the eyes on the fish. So I thought this would be a great one for you guys to actually get a couple of visual references from. There's even pictures of the fish that he caught, and it shows him spreading the ink onto the fish. He did both the direct and the indirect method that we talked about in class. All right, so as for adding some of these really cool eye details, I'm gonna show you up close how you'll wanna do that. Okay, I have a couple examples here with a bunch of different color schemes. Honestly, you don't have to go necessarily with a realistic colored pencil technique in the sense of color, because this is your artwork. You don't have to do realistic. Most fish don't have super bright colored eyes, but I know for something like this, it's kind of fun to experiment with color. So if you guys can see here, I've practiced with 6 different color combinations. Whatever one you want to practice with first, I would get that blank sheet of paper you've been given as a sketch paper, and I would try just first drawing, go around and around with a colored pencil, black colored pencil, or a regular pencil, and make yourself a circle. Doesn't have to be perfect. Then on the inside, I would make the pupil. That's that black part. Just so you have kind of an idea of where that's going to be. Now, some kids want to color in the pupil right away. I would not do that, because if you color in the pupil right away, you have a lot of this black colored pencil there, and it could smear into your color. The only thing I would add before you forget is add in maybe a little teeny tiny oval, and that is going to be your white space that you set aside right here. Don't put anything in that space. That's the shine that you have for the reflection off of the eye, the reflection of light off of that eye. Then you want to pick any color combination that you'd like to. Normally with colored pencils, any 2 colors look decent together, but remember, if you pick ones from the opposite end of the color wheel, you'll end up getting brown. So I'm going to pick 2 analogous colors like we talked about in class. I'm going to pick a purple and a blue. I'm going to work with those. It doesn't matter which one you start with first. You can even practice it twice. One was starting with blue and one was starting with purple, or whatever your 2 colors are. I usually start on the outside of the eye and just kind of get a feel for going around in that circle. And I'm going to make kind of a dark circle on the very outside of the eye. And as I come in, I'm going to press lighter and lighter and lighter. So my blue becomes lighter and lighter and lighter as I get towards the pupil. It almost looks like I'm shading it in. If I feel like I want to add some more dark on the outside, I'm pressing very lightly. I'm just putting layers down, just like we talked about with the chalk. With colored pencil, you want to put layers. Don't try to do it all in one swipe of your hand. Once I have the blue on there, it goes from dark blue to very light blue. I'm going to set that blue down. I'm going to pick my other color out, and this time I'm going to do the opposite. I'm going to start where the pupil is, going around a circle, and I'm pressing fairly hard. I'm building up those layers. Then as I go away from the pupil, I'm gonna press very lightly. And I'm gonna make circles bigger and bigger out towards the blue. So I'm starting to blend that purple in with the blue. All the way towards the outside. If I wanna add a little more purple in there, I can add a little bit more of a layer. Again, it's building up of these layers. Once I'm happy with what I have, I'm going to get my black out and I'm gonna go ahead and retrace that black pupil, pressing fairly hard. And then as you see, I'm making very small strokes that are kind of circular so I don't get any dark deep lines through my shading. I'm keeping some of the black lighter towards that shine just because it almost looks like reflected light. And I'm making the outside edge of that pupil very dark, going over it several times by pressing fairly hard. Then I'm also going to make sure that the outside of my eye has a nice dark outline just to set off those colors. And again, start light. You can always build up more. Now, if you notice on some of the eyes, they have little speckles in it. When I did some of my research, I noticed that not all fish eyes are completely smooth in their color. So if you want to take one of the colors that you worked with and put a couple lines in there, I'm pressing really hard just to kind of interrupt that. It'll look more like you have kind of some splotches in there like a real fish eye would have. And there's your fish eye. You have your outer circle, your inner pupil with that reflective light mark, which is like a very small oval. And I colored in and shaded it. So I'm gonna do the same exact thing, but I'm gonna put it inside the eye now of my final. Now I'm gonna skip the practice because of time, but I would practice on your practice one first. Then when you're ready, get out your actual print that you'd like to work with. I'm gonna do those same colors, but now on this final. So you can see that I did it around the same size as my final. And you may have some ink there, and that's okay. You may even have some ink in your way, and that's okay too. So my dark outer line, and this one has a shine in a weird spot, so I'm just gonna kind of leave it there. Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and shade a little bit of that in so I know where it's at. And then the rest of it's going to be those two colors. Again, you can start with purple, you can start with blue. This time I'm gonna start with purple just for fun. Going towards the middle, then change colors, start from the middle, go out towards the edge. Then I'm gonna fill in that pupil with my black, leaving that white. Remember, once you cover over that white, it's really hard to get it back. Okay, and now I have my fisheye. Again, if you wanna go back through and add in some of your little dark details, you can do that. One other thing I'm going to do is I'm just gonna add some colored pencil detail on this fish, just so you can see me do it as a final product. You wanna concentrate on your fisheye first though. With whatever remaining time you have, you can concentrate on the body. But you definitely don't wanna press hard over top of all this beautiful print. You just wanna add a little bit of color if you have time. So that's something I'm just gonna do here for a moment, maybe take a minute or so. Again, practice on your practice one first to make sure you like it and then go from there. I'm gonna do kind of a similar technique where I start off very lightly on the top of the fish. And you're gonna hear that noise. That is from me going over top of the dried ink. Remember, build up layers. So I'm doing a very light layer of green all the way down. You can keep it one color, or if you want to blend two colors together like we did with the eye, that's okay too. I'm gonna maybe pick the blue. Notice I'm doing very light strokes, building up that color. And then again, remember, keeping it light is key if you want to make it believable. If you press too hard, it's going to look like a cartoon. Very lightly. I'm pretty quick at this because I've done it for many years. It may take you a little longer. That is totally normal. What I think looks really nice is when you overlap your colors in the middle a little bit. So I would bring your bottom color up a little further than halfway, and I would bring your top color down a little further than halfway so that they meet in the middle. And again, have fun with playing with your different colors. You can add a little bit of the top color down here. You can add some of that top color to the top here, giving it an outline. And if you're not sure where the fins are, it's your artwork. You make it up. You decide where you want some of that color. Whatever you do though, make sure you finish it. So keep your eye on the time. I'm gonna ask that Miss Adair gives you a 10-minute warning and a 5-minute warning. At your 10-minute warning, you wanna try to finish up whatever you've started. At the 5-minute warning, you should be about ready to clean up. So do not wait to the 5-minute warning to start this. If for some reason it takes you a long time to do the eye and you don't have time for the fish, that's okay. I'd rather have you do what you've done well than rush it and have it not look well done. It's a finished product. I ended up giving it a purple and blue eye, and I decided on a blue and green as far as the fish. There's no rule in what you're allowed to do as far as your colors. I would definitely pick analogous colors though, and not opposites when you go to blend them together. But you could always pick a warm color for the eye and a cool color for the fish, or a cool color for the eye and a warm color for the fish too, if you want to try something like that out. Do not add any other things around the fish. Don't draw anything, don't shade anything, don't put any water in there. Keep it plain because we have to have room for our Japanese writing in here later, okay? And good luck, have fun.